HarperCollins presents Alyce with a Y by Anna James, read by Kristen Atherton. Begin at the beginning and go on till you come to the end. Then stop. From Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. March 1919. Chapter 1. The things you need to know before we begin. Alyce and Alyce looked at each other from either end of the room and had nothing to say that would reach across the empty library. And if you're confused by their names already, then you may as well stop now before we've even got started properly. For Alyce is Alice's grandmother, and Alyce is Alice's granddaughter. I'm not sure how much plainer I can make it. 10 minutes ago, Specular House had been full of the noise of Alice's mother gathering up her bags, telling Alyce to be good for her grandmother, and the cries of her baby brother, telling her nothing useful. 6 months ago, the house had been full of recovering soldiers and nurses, who were variously frazzled, or laughing, or sad, or annoyed, her grandmother at their helm. The soldiers used to call her Bunny as she scurried between their beds with her white apron and cap and pocket watch. "Oh, my ears and whiskers," Alyce used to say if something went wrong. Alyce did not know if she said it because they called her Bunny or the other way around. In fact, she could never quite tell which way round things were with her grandmother. A year ago, before the soldiers and the nurses and the baby, the house had also been full of the sounds of Alice's father. These sounds included mainly thinking and tinkering sorts of noises. Hmms, and hmps, and eurekas, and crashes and dabblings and clatterings and so forth, and also a great deal of laughter. But he was gone, and now there was just Alyce, her grandmother, and Alyce, her granddaughter, looking at each other across the room where there used to be books, and then soldiers, and now it was only, and very quietly, the two of them. Alice's father, Rufus, but called Rusty for his red hair, had been an inventor, although the piece of paper he got from Cambridge University said that he was an engineer. While he couldn't officially be called a sailor, he was very clever at boats in particular, so much so that the Navy asked him to come and help when the war broke out, or so Alice's mother had explained it. Rusty had seen how nifty fishing boats and their nets were, and used that to come up with a way to help find the exploding mines that the enemy left in the water. The ships were officially called flower-class sloops because they were all named for plants, from acacia all the way through the alphabet to zinnia. But when her father was at home, he called them Britain's herbaceous border. Alyce had liked the idea that they were being protected by flowers, until one of those flowers hit a mine while her father was on board, and he didn't come home again. The war ended very shortly afterwards, which made sense to Alyce, as she did not understand how anything could keep going without her father. Alice's mother, Sylvie, did not realise she was going to have another baby, Archimedes, if you can believe it, until afterwards. And now her mother, that's Sylvie's mother, Alice's other grandmother, name irrelevant, please do try and keep up, was poorly, and so Sylvie was going to care for her instead of the soldiers. The baby was too little to be left, so he had to go with her, but Alyce was to stay at home to help her grandmother and go to school, and Sylvie would be back before too long. What else needs explaining? Ah, yes, their house had been full of soldiers because a few years ago it became clear that there were not enough hospital beds for the men who were injured. Alice's grandmother had volunteered Specular House, and then disappeared off to London for a while, and came back, knowing how to do useful things with bandages and needles. Books and sitting rooms and toys were cleared, and lines of beds and piles of starched sheets and great pots of boiling water appeared instead, and then the soldiers themselves appeared by train. They were put into long lines of beds in what used to be the library, watched over by a portrait of Rufus. The soldiers called him Captain Rusty, and had perched an
Sample complete. Ready to continue?